Hey, listeners, welcome back. It's been a hot minute, but I'm Will, back with a new episode of the Gamenomicon podcast series, Will and Jerod Make a Game. We promised you guys that this was going to follow us through the entire process, top to bottom. You've already had a ton of updates as we went through kind of initial brainstorming and design and several revisions. And then we ran the Kickstarter campaign, which recently ended. We talked about doing an episode. I apologize. I think it is likely on me that we didn't wind up getting one out during the campaign about that. But regardless, the campaign itself, I think, was a huge success. So as we kind of shift gears into finalizing design and testing and into production, we figured we'd kind of come back to you guys with a quick update, and as we go from here. This week, I think, is mostly just a thank you to all of you wonderful, wonderful people. All, let me go back here to the correct tab, all 83 backers. So yeah, and we do actually have it turned on for late pledges to be available, which I've never done before. I think it's new to have that actually built into Kickstarter. So hopefully that works out. If you hear about the game down the line, if you're listening to this episode in May, and you're intrigued about the game, go look up Honor Bound on Kickstarter, and hopefully it works correctly to let you back it late.
Nothing but gratitude on our side. 83 people with the generous use of your money. We know there's a lot of games out there, especially during Zine Month and Zine Quest. Thank you so much for believing in us to get you a quality, fun game. And from my recent playtesting, I think we're catching a little bit of lightning in a bottle here. I haven't had as much fun telling a continuous story as I have with Honorbound right now. It's been fantastic. Uh, just to give you a little insight, just from mechanically, huge shout out to Charles Dickens, our man. There was every character in the game was called an untold story, and it's up to them to bring it into the session related to something that's going on in the adventure, be able to tell their untold story. Your untold story can be like you're hunting for your parents. Like think of all those Charles Dickens quotes, right? You were left at the altar or whatever. One of my favorite ones is that you left an unmarked grave on an unknown planet. Like, what does that mean? It can mean a lot of different things, but then start to tell your story. So to earn a saga point, you tell your story during the adventure, and then, after you tell that, everyone else gets a turn to tell a twist, to give a twist to your story. And if you accept that twist into your story, you earn a unity point, which you'll need at the end of the game to do the big climatic all for one conflicts. So you can check it out on the YouTube under Jerod Leopold. We've got the latest one on there. I think uh, the twist comes in around minute 35, and
Yeah.
it is chilling how cool these ideas all come together. So, thank you so much for allowing us to be able to create something to be able to tell these stories.
We'll get that link added to the show notes on this and to a Kickstarter update to all the backers. You've already, I'm sure, seen a few episodes of Jared's playtesting shenanigans on YouTube, but I will try to be more diligent on making sure that I get the latest episode out to you guys in a timely manner. That said, I love the personal, or sorry, the it's gone through different names. Sorry,
Yes,
what is it? Unknown story now?
it's at Untold Stories right now, and I'm still
Untold
not
story. There we
100%
go.
on it. I'll be honest with you.
No worries. We'll decide on a final one eventually. But I
Yeah.
love the concept as a whole. I love the twist. Jerod, I know you have also worked some with the second guest system, the solo system,
Yes.
which famously, right, lowercase famously, features a twist mechanic. What did that inspire this at all? Where something you didn't know before, the when you told the story before, has to change? Was there a connection?
Great question, and I can honestly say it didn't even cross my mind. But you know what?
Oh.
I think that's all part of the design process, right? There's so
Mhm.
many weird nooks and crannies of just absorbing from looking at games, and especially because I've written three or four or maybe even five second guess little games already, so that might have had something to it. Now,
That little worm back there.
I will say second guess did fully influence one of the ideas for the tension table for the whole end covenant story of where if you roll this again, it's definitely well, now you need to go back and revisit the thing that you talked about earlier and tell me why that's wrong. So there'll be different ways of doing twists. So I can give you credit for that one. That's pretty good. I just don't
Okay.
remember
Well,
doing that for the
I
twin
wasn't
story.
necessarily fishing for credit in that, I wasn't gonna be like, "Oh, that was the system I made." But I was curious if there was a connection, and it had just hit me while you were telling me when you were retelling me just then.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's an aside. We said that this episode was mostly just going to be a thanks to you guys, the backers. And in particular, I want to throw out a few extra huge, huge thanks to folks that backed at frankly astounding levels. Of course, if you looked at the campaign, you saw there was a level where folks will get to craft their own species or lineage in the game, their own alien, to put that in layman's terms. Um, and someone backed at that level, which is absolutely fantastic. We've started to get the ball rolling on that discussion. Several of you, I think it was four in the end, right? Backed at the level to name an NPC for the adventures. So that I think may be coming a little bit later once we have the adventures like fully locked down. I would think, and that way we can, well, maybe not fully locked down, right? Or you wouldn't be naming someone, but once we know for sure which two adventures are going into the book and that sort of thing. I know Jerod's been working on several and that he's had cooking, so we'll reach out to folks as we move forward with that. Let's see what else. Stretch goals. We hit several stretch goals, which is amazing. We're going to get different figures or sketches for the archetypes, as well as the callings. So those are kind of your background and your class, to put it in shorter terms for familiar from other games. We're going to be able to hire out professional layout rather than me cobbling together whatever I can in Affinity. And yeah, I think we're making great progress there. We've already got artists picked out for that stuff. We're going to start this week trying to narrow down a list for layout folks. Jerod's got playtesting well underway. I think once he solidifies that stuff, then I can get cracking on editing. And yeah, I think everything is moving in a great direction. Anything you want to add to that overview?
I do. Just kind of give people a time frame. So we have contacted all the artists already they're going to be working with, and at this point, we're just waiting for the Kickstarter money to come through, so then we can pay them so that they can start doing the art. So that takes between 2 to 4 weeks after the Kickstarter ends. So that would be the time that's the earliest that they would start. And so then that's going to take even longer, however long it takes for them to do their art after that. So we don't have any numbers back from the artists yet because we haven't even talked to them yet, as far as because we don't have the money to be able to pay them. Then we'll take a look at their schedules. And I think we'll probably do another episode at that point in time to kind of give
Yeah.
everyone more ballpark dates. But just want to let you guys know um, just where we're at in the process and how it all works. it's still doing some marketing on my end. Like I just did a convention this last weekend for it. So,
Awesome.
and and again, just thank you. The stretch goals really blew me away. I couldn't have hoped for like everything I wanted for me to feel like this is the book. And I know that Will and I have talked about this before, or at least I've brought it up, is that as far as projects, this is probably going to be the project that I've made the least amount of money on of this scale. But as far as like the initial Kickstarter, but I think it's going to be by far the best product that we've ever put out as well. And I'm really excited for that. Just something to be able to build on with that. I think the book's going to look super slick.
Oh
The
yeah.
rules are coming through. The layout's going to be exciting to see. The art's really cool. Like I just can't wait to see it all put together. Thank you again,
Oh yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, and as Jared's alluding to, this is the project that has the most kind of moving pieces in regards to what am I looking for here? Other like um, uh, creators, contractors, whatever, right? Hiring out to multiple artists and layout and printing on down the line and whatever. Like
Yep.
uh, so much of that was done kind of just by us in the past,
Yeah. It was a
depending on
two-man ship
which
for the
project.
most part.
Yeah, or only one or the other of us, depending on the project. Or
Yeah.
I do want to still give huge shout outs to my buddy Matt, who is a graphic designer,
Yes.
who did the phenomenal Party First stuff. I do not want to skip over that. But this, that was a buddy of mine from high school, right? That helped out. This is us going through the work of looking through portfolios and
Yeah.
narrowing things down, reaching out, prepping contracts and with them and all of that. So like Jared said, it's just I'm really excited to see all the pieces come together. Really
Yeah.
is what that boils down to.
I think the most satisfied I'll ever be with the project. Well, up till now, I should say, satisfied with the project. It's just so cool. It's not our first one. Like I'll always remember Goblin Market and how Party first came together when I got to help out on that. But yeah, this is super exciting. Just super exciting.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and not only for backing, but for listening to this episode. And I think unless Jared specifically has another thought he wants to throw in, I think we'll call this one good and follow up with you guys at least by the time we've got funds in hand and have spoken to artists to nail down their timelines.
That sounds perfect.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.